Chronicle Vault presents Ancient Civilizations, the Bronze Empire, the Hittite people. Many empires arose during the age. Some became famous as the Babylonians. Others, however, were buried by the sands of time and were almost forgotten in the course of history. The Imperial was one of the most powerful and influential of his time, and yet it remained hidden for a long time. The Hittites were an Indo-European people that in 2000 before Christ settled in central Anatolia, where today is Turkey. They called themselves Ada, and once they arrived in that region, dominated the other tribes that were there. This domination was done both by force and by diplomacy. The Hittites prided themselves on being a warrior society and had great esteem for the horses. Those responsible for breeding and training horses had a prominent place in society. One of the first accounts of the Hittites are in Greek poetry, like the Odyssey, where the Hittites are called quiet, already in the cloud. The Hittites are cited in the Old Will, where they are called Eti, including the story of Uriah, husband of Bathsheba and who served King David. Uriah and Bathsheba were Hittites. Hittites are also mentioned in texts. Assyrians and Egyptians, even with so many reports. The Hittite people have only come to be officially discovered in 1880 by archaeologist Archibald Henry VI, and even finding abundant evidence. The Archibald was laughed at within the academic society, who said that he was trying to steal the existence of its civilization. His discoveries were only made years later, thanks to excavations carried out by the German archaeologist Hugo Winkler around the year 1650 of Christ. The Babylonian empires, Egyptian and Tita, had already met. The Hittites were in one privileged geographical position, as they could trade with different nations from different cultures. Merchant vessels coming from Greece, Egypt, and Mesopotamia passed through the ports of Hittite cities. Even though they are surrounded by powerful kingdoms and empires, the Hittites were never conquered, and legends say they've never lost a battle. In 1274 before Christ, the Hittites fought the Egyptians in the Battle of Kadesh. The two sides fought fiercely, without managing to gain a decisive advantage. This battle became known as the biggest battle in history. The conflict ended and so the Egyptians were forced to retreat. The pharaoh of Egypt, Hamza II, signed a peace treaty with the Hittites, recognizing Imperatita as being equal in power and military to Egypt. Several times, the Hittites stopped Assyrian invasions. Babylonian, Egyptian, and Greek, your army's military equipment was composed of bronze helmets and weapons, in addition to heavy armor made with small bronze plates, and is attributed to the Hittites, being one of the first civilizations to master iron metallurgy. The Hittites, they also had the reputation of having the best war chariots of their time. Their carriages could carry up to 3 warriors and were pulled by 2 or even 4 horses. Water in these carriages was quite efficient, having a shield to guide the horses, a warrior carrying a long spear and heavy armor, and a third warrior carrying a shield to protect the other 2. This third warrior could also make use of bow and arrow for ranged attacks. Was one speed combination, attack and defense, which undoubtedly made the Hittites fearsome warriors. Some old records indicate that even the famous city of Troy paid tribute to the Hittites. Hittite society was incredibly advanced. They invented their own hieroglyphic writing, which was later changed to cuneiform writing, copied from the Assyrians. They developed a very detailed art style and well-established and strict laws. The city that was the capital of his empire was Tusa, whose ruins still exist today. In the area of policy, they were ruled by a king. That should demonstrate social and military skills, and a council of nobles called Pankos, who played the role of magistrates, judging the crimes or deciding on minor day-to-day issues. Among the Hittites, even slaves had rights in society. When it came to religion, the Hittites were incredibly tolerant. They worshipped gods of different peoples and respected the beliefs even of their enemies. It yielded to the Hittites the title of the people of 1,000 gods. At its height, the Hittite Empire extended from Turkey to parts of Lebanon and Syria. A little after the Battle of Kadesh, Empire Hittite began to face internal conflicts, and other peoples took advantage of this instability. A civil war was weakening the Empire Hittite, and the Assyrians began to press more and more in their attacks. All this instability caused the Hittite population to begin to abandon their homes and migrate to other regions. After burning Tusa, your own capital, the Hittites became easy targets for groups of pirates and looters. One of the most developed empires of the Bronze Age now lay in ruins. As for the survivors of the Hittites, it is not known for sure where they went, having probably lived in small tribes or sought refuge in other kingdoms, despite having spent so much lost time. And until today, it is not one of the most remembered. The Empire Hittite left its mark on history, must be remembered, for its grandeur and historical importance.
Subscribe to the Vault of Chronicles channel. Stories you've never heard, every day here.